Thank you for joining this demo of FinPro. In this demo, we're going to be reviewing some of the features and functionality of FinPro on its reporting, budgeting, forecasting, and analysis. FinPro can be accessed from Excel. It is an Excel add-in. Once installed, it can be accessed from the Excel ribbon as its own tab. You can log in via a connect button, and you can access either from the login menu or you can simply connect a connect button once you have entered your access information the first time. So again, you'll see that once your profile information has been entered, you can just enter that automatically going forward. And you can click the button and you'll be instantly connected. Once you are instantly connected, you'll see that your ribbon populates with functionality, and the functionality that you have will depend on the role that you've been assigned within FinPro according to your access level. The functions are grouped into 4 different areas on the ribbon: reporting, drilling, which is also considered analysis, uploading, which we consider budgeting and forecasting, and then other, which contains functions related to the administrative area, also functions related to our web application, settings, and also help functionality as well. We're going to start by looking at the dimension viewer, which is the core component within the FinPro environment. The dimension viewer allows you to access the cube environment of FinPro, which gives you a visual access to all of your reporting layers or dimensions. The number of dimensions that you have will depend on the number of general ledger elements in your accounting system, and also any additional layers that you want to incorporate from a management perspective on top of what you have in your accounting system. There are some standard ones that we have in FinPro, things like the fiscal year, the fiscal period within the year. So that would be a cascading level of periods, starting with the full year, all rippling down or cascading all the way down into half year, quarter, and periods within the year. FinPro can also handle fiscal periods that are not calendar based. So if your fiscal year ends either in June or September or anything that is not December, can accommodate that as well. The next dimension that we have here is calculation, and that handles things like balance sheet calculations, the standard calculations for a P&L, like monthly or period to date calculations. Then we have calculation types that take care of calculations for partial periods within the year, like quarter to date, half year to date, and year to date. And then there are calculations that can span across years, things like trailing calculations, trailing 3-month, 6-month, 9-month, and 12-month, and life to date calculations, which are very important for businesses that need to do project-based calculations for calculating income statement data or P&L data for projects or anything across multiple years. The measure dimension looks at your different silos of data that could be anything like your actual data, your budget data, your forecast data, and a company can have as many different measures as they want to create. You can have as many different budgets created for a given year as you want. So you could have 4 or 5 different iterations of a budget. You could have multiple forecasts within a year, multiple forecasts for a given month. You could have several hundred measures here if you want, and you could compare all of these measures against each other easily to see an actual versus budget versus forecast, or even as you're going through your budget preparations, you can easily compare one budget version to an earlier budget version or a forecast scenario versus a different forecast scenario. GL type represents a ledger type, and the ledger type can be used for different purposes with different companies. One purpose the ledger type serves is for companies with multiple currencies. It allows us to show different currencies for their companies. So we can show ledgers for a functional currency and then ledgers for a consolidated currency. This also allows us to show cash versus accrual-based ledgers for companies, as well as ledgers for international accounting versus GAAP accounting or any other type of different books that a company would need to see. Minority owned interest versus consolidated pro forma. There's lots of different reasons that you could have different ledger types. The rest of these dimensions are really specific to the ledger, to the general ledger elements of what you have in your accounting system. You'll see that as you look at the account dimension here, you can go through each of these dimensions and look at the tree and go all the way down from the parent level all the way to the lowest level, either by expanding the tree all the way down using the plus or minus magnification buttons, or we also have the ability to use the level skipping button down here at the bottom that takes you level by level all the way down. Now, the dimension viewer not only gives you access to view each of the dimensions within your FinPro setup, it also allows you to interact with and build your reports in a spreadsheet by highlighting the different members within your dimension viewer here and simply clicking this insert button here. You can drop these items into your spreadsheet. There's a number of different ways to add these elements into your spreadsheet. You can click the button, you can right click and insert items, or you can simply just drag and drop them into your spreadsheet as well. Let's look at a completed financial report in FinPro and see how that works before we actually look at building a new report first. This is an example of a completed financial report. You'll see that we've got a P&L by row going down with multiple companies going across by column for period to date and then year to date columns to the right of the period. So to update a FinPro report, you would simply go up to the ribbon here and click on the update button. If you're updating a single worksheet, you'd click on the top button. If you wanted to update multiple worksheets or all worksheets within the workbook, you could click on the lower buttons. And with just one click of a button, your entire worksheet is going to populate with values from FinPro. FinPro, again, is a cloud database that is hosting your information, which in turn is going to be accessing the data from your accounting system or GL system or ERP system or whatever system that you are pulling your financial data or operational or system data from. And you'll see that the data is pulled in as values. So FinPro uses metadata embedded into each of these worksheets to pull the financial data in and keeps these workbooks as lean files so that there are no heavy formulas embedded anywhere in these workbooks. That allows these files to be easily distributed to other end users, and so that these files are ultimately clean files that can get passed on to end users who can then review these files or open these files and see them and access them regardless of whether or not they have the FinPro application. Another nice feature with FinPro is the ability to drill into your financial reports to view financial detail or analysis behind the numbers. FinPro has all of the detail or the information, the granular detail behind the summary level data that you're looking at. So when you're looking at a summary level piece of information, like the cost of goods sold materials number here, that's $1.3 million, and you want to see what this number represents, all you need to do is click on the quick drill button here. And this will actually, when you click on the quick drill button, provide a pop-up menu that will give you a preview of the financial data that you are looking at. So this is giving us a transactional drill down of all of the detailed records, in this case, 1,444 records, that make up the 1.3 million in data behind the number that we just clicked into. And you can see these are all the different transactional fields that are the information behind the data that we just looked into. The nice thing with FinPro, you can customize the transactional data that comes out and the information that we're looking at here. There's a variety of different ways to see the information, and you can see that it comes out in a very easy to use, easy to see format so that you can scroll through the data records and see this information easily and view this information, analyzing it across all of the multiple records. You can choose to preview this information in a pane like I just showed you here, or you can simply export this data into a worksheet as well. So I'll show you that now. The alternative, just by clicking this button, and instead of previewing the data, is to just dump it into an adjacent spreadsheet here. Again, that will return those 1,400 records into a spreadsheet and give you all of that transactional detail so that you can analyze the information behind that number. So let's take a look at this report and see how it was built and designed in FinPro. How complicated, how hard is it to build a report? It's very easy to build a report in FinPro. In fact, we tout FinPro as being one of the easiest to build and design reports in the market. The tool for building and modifying reports is the Report Builder. So you simply click this Report Builder button. And when you do, a graphical interface pops up with a lot of colors here. It's going to show you on the right-hand side a menu with each of your dimensions. These are the dimensions that we reviewed earlier. And it's going to show you a color for each of your dimensions. And it's going to then point you to each of those dimensions. And it's going to show you each of those dimensions on your spreadsheet with a color of where each of those dimensions are located. And each of those dimensions are going to be set up as one of three types. They're either going to be a row, a column, or a page filter, which means a single cell. And if it's a page filter, it means that that cell is going to apply to the entire worksheet. If it's a column, it means that information is going to apply to the vertical column. And if it's a row, that means that that data is going to apply to that specific row. So you can see here in this report that we built, our rows are our GL accounts. So we have sales revenue going across as a row, other revenue for the next row. Our columns are made up of combinations of specific companies going across, as well as whether it is period to date information or year to date information. And then we also have column information that's denoting it as to the type of measure it is and the period within the year as well as the year. Of course, these pieces of information are the same going across the columns. So it's very easy to build a report like this. Of course, you don't have to take my word for that. I'm going to show you how to build a report right now from scratch and how quick and how easy it is to do that from scratch. So we'll start with a blank worksheet. And again, we'll go to the Report Builder. And when you open up the Report Builder on a blank worksheet, you'll see that everything will be empty. We have a button over here that's called a Quick Builder. And the idea with this Quick Builder is that it is a convenient tool for starting a report really quickly. So all you need to do is click this Quick Builder button. And when you click this Quick Builder button, it essentially builds a grid out for you and drops all of the information into the top left section of your report and drops a set of rows, columns, and a data area. And all of this information can be pre-configured and set up by you so that going forward, this initial configuration can be configured or customized to your liking so that each time this initial setup can be done a specific way each time so that it can be customized to your liking. In this case, what we're going to want to do is just make a few minor adjustments to this worksheet. For starters, what we're going to do is, you can see here, got our periods going across as columns. Well, we've only got 10 columns and we're going to want 12 periods. So we're going to insert 2 more columns. We have to put the period values or the period IDs in. There's 2 ways to do this. If you don't know what a member ID is, you can go ahead and look that up by going to the dimension viewer. Like we did earlier, you can just simply open up the dimension viewer and reference that information here. Of course, with the period dimension, the member IDs are very easy to remember. It's P01 through P12 for the periods within the year. So all you need to do to build that across is just simply drag that with Excel, and you've got your periods built for you across the top of the spreadsheet. And what's nice with FinPro, you'll see, is that FinPro shades in information here according to the settings of the cell. So if the field is set up as a data column, it will shade it vertically. If it's a page filter, it will shade it diagonally. And if it's a row setup, it will shade it horizontally. So this is our GL account section. So here we want to bring in our GL accounts. Now there's several different ways we could do this. We could bring in a full P&L structure if we wanted to. So I'm going to go back to my dimension viewer here, look at our GL accounts, go into find our net income or our P&L. And here we have our whole net income section. So we could start by building out an entire income statement here with revenue, expenses, build up very specific sections, revenue, cost of sales, and structure our P&L line by line exactly as we want to see it. And that's totally fine. The other approach with FinPro is to have FinPro automatically build your P&L structure for you. And the way to do that is by choosing something at a higher level and then choose FinPro to expand or automatically expand everything down for you. And so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to insert net income. So I'm going to tell net income to drop in here vertically. And you'll see when I do that, it drops the ID and the description right in here. So now we've completed our first report. You'll see everything is now in place. The only thing that's really missing is for us to format the data. The last step would be to tell FinPro to update the report. Now, if we just chose to update this report, it's going to just update our net income number. So we could do that right now. And there we go. There is our net income row. But like I mentioned earlier, we actually want to see this P&L fully populate with a full set of accounts. So to do that, we are going to use the expand reports functionality. And I'm going to click this expand report rows button. And when we click the expand reports button, what's happening is FinPro is going to take that net income, and based on the settings that we have right here in our report expansion, it's going to expand this report down to the specified level and give us a report with all of the GL accounts level by level on our spreadsheet, going down, grouped, with grouping buttons already set up on our spreadsheet. And again, all that's left to do for a user is to simply format their report and make any adjustments to column settings and hide any columns that they want for end user visibility.